Welcome. First of all, welcome. This is Unsolicited Perspectives. I'm your host, Bruce Anthony, here to lead the conversation in important events and topics that are shaping today's society. Join the conversation and follow us wherever you get your audio podcasts. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch our video podcast. Rate, review, like, comment, share. Share with your friends, share with your family, hell, even share with your enemies. On today's episode, I'll be dilly-daddling a little bit in the first segment, ripped from the headlines. Y'all know how I like to do. Then we're going to be talking about technology, more specifically AI and algorithms. And then we're going to be talking about interesting facts. But that's enough of the intro. Let's get to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you once again for joining me on this ride that we call Unsolicited Perspectives. We are almost coming up on our 2-year anniversary on November the 8th. We will be releasing, I don't know, it's going to be like our 180th or 181st show or 182nd, somewhere around that time. But what is so special about that date is that it is the exact day of our 2-year anniversary of starting this podcast. Our first episode was released November 8th, 2022. 2 years later, we are still going. And I want to thank you, the audience, that both listen and watch. By the way, if you listen, you notice that there are ads that play in between segments. Depending on where you live, there are different demographics of what ad plays where, or if ads play. We get money for that. Not a lot, a little bit, right? A little bit. We are very close to monetizing on YouTube. We need your help. If you listen to us, great, keep listening. But if you don't watch us, turn us on. Turn us on YouTube and watch us. Make sure that you have an account. Make sure that you're subscribed. But check us out on YouTube. It's going to help us grow and continue to give you these episodes and maybe even more episodes if we start getting more money. More money. That's, we're looking for that a little bit. But once again, I can't help but just thank everybody for just being so supportive, so appreciative, and giving us content. Because a lot of y'all will comment about things that we say and like, I think you should have said it this way, or this is what I think, and we take that and we try to learn and grow from it. So yes, please continue on supporting us. We really greatly appreciate it, and thank you. We're going to be 2 years and continue on going. November 8th is not going to be the last episode. We're going to keep going until I can't go no more. That's the goal, is to go to the point where I can't go no more. And don't worry, I know a lot of y'all out there thinking, Bruce, when the hell are you going to bring back the interviews? I'm bringing them back. There'll be some airing before the election because I've interviewed some people that their topic matter is important leading into the election. But after the election, November 8th, after the November 8th episode, we're going to bring back the interview. So don't worry, I'm not done interviewing interesting people and bringing you their content. It's been some interesting couple of days. It's been happening in the news. Trump did a town hall on Univision, just like Kamala Harris did. And Kamala Harris went on Fox. She had an interview with, I think his name is Brett Bear. It's Bear, or it's hard to know what his last name is. But before the interview, I always respected Brett as being one of the most journalistic people on Fox, because on Fox, they have a lot of buffoons. Look, that late night lineup, they're not journalists. No matter what you think, they're not journalists. I will also let you know that a lot of the late night Fox, NBC, CNN shows were at one point, maybe they were journalists, but they're now commentators now. They're not here to give you the news. They're here to give you their opinion. So you just must understand that that is what it is. But Brett was a journalist, one of the few that I respected. It was him and Chris Wallace, and now Chris Wallace is on CNN. One of the few people that I respected on Fox News because they were journalists. And I'm watching the interview that he's doing with VP Kamala Harris, and he's being combative. It is not the same interview that he did with Donald Trump. He's not letting her speak. It was a poor case of journalism, one of the worst cases of journalism I think I've ever seen. And I was really disappointed in him, but really really excited about how Kamala Harris showed. One, she took that interview. She went into a hostile territory and she took that interview. That's number one, because Donald Trump is canceling anything that could be combative. And these town halls are not helping him, by the way. I mean, the people that's going to rock with him are going to rock with him regardless. But these town halls, if you're an undecided voter, which, by the way, I don't know why you would be undecided. The only reason why you would be undecided is because you don't want to vote for a Black woman, right? You are either a Trump supporter or you don't want to vote for a Black woman. There's really no gray area with this one. It's literally Black or white. But yeah, I thought that she was strong in her responses. He thought that he was going to run the interview. He was pissed off that he couldn't when he gave his little dialogue on the news outlets, on Fox News outlets afterwards. Thought it was, he said, like, it was combative. No, she was coming back at you because you weren't letting her finish her thoughts when you would ask her questions. You weren't letting her ask questions. You were being purposely combative to try to make her look bad. And it didn't. Well, people who are Trump supporters are going to say, well, she just looked bad. She looked combative. And it's unfortunate because Black women, women in general, but more specifically Black women in general have this thing where they can't be stern or tough because men are weak. And we take that as, well, she must be going through something. No, fact of the matter is, and a lot of men don't want to hear this. They don't want to be faced with this reality. Men are far more emotional than women are. And what I mean by that, let me rephrase that. Men are far more sensitive than women are. Far more sensitive than women are. Women can deal with a lot of BS. Men cannot deal with a lot of BS. And she took a lot of BS during that interview. And she stood right there. It's like Brett forgot that she was a prosecutor. I mean, it's like people out there forget what her credentials are. I know everybody that's against her wants to say that she slept her way to the top. And trust me, if there was a way to sleep your way to the top, women would have been running this country far sooner than 2016 when we got our first primary nominee, female primary nominee, right? Like women would have been running the world. So you can't obviously sleep your way to that position. You can't sleep your way to being elected by the voters. It's just it's a way to be dismissive and to dismiss her accomplishments because you can't do what she could do. It pisses you off to look at her and be like, why does she accomplish so much? Because she's brilliant. That's why. My father just got a new job. He's a high-ranking executive for a very profitable company. And, it's me and my brother and sister. Y'all know my sister because she does the show with us. And y'all don't know my brother because he's never going to do the show with us. And we're all three are successful in our own right, but not nearly as successful as my father. And he says to me, you're going to be just as successful as me one day. And I'm like, well, one, I don't know if I'm trying to attain that level of success because he works extremely hard and I like to have fun. Not knocking him, of course, because he was a poor Black boy from Illinois, and now he's a high-ranking executive for a billion-dollar company, right? So that's a hell of a walk through life. But to say that we could do that, no, because my dad is brilliant. If anybody could do what he does or get to where he got to, coming from where he came from, remember, this was a man that was born during Jim Crow, right? Then everybody would be able to do it. If I could just mimic him, then I would be just as successful as him. I'm not him. I think I'm intelligent and well articulate and educated and ambitious, but not like him. He's just a level above me. And he would say, no, you have this capability too. And maybe, I don't know, but it's not just about the capability. It's about the drive and determination and the pull yourself up and just go do it and forge ahead. And in some areas, I have that ability. In some areas, I don't. When people look at Kamala Harris and they look at her accomplishments, they want to think to themselves, well, how did this Black woman get to this level? she must have slept her way to the top, because why am I not there? The reason why you're not there and she is there because she's just better than you. I'm sorry. I know everybody wants to say nobody is better than anybody else, but that's not true. There's a hierarchy in human nature. And there are people who are smarter. There are people who are more educated. There are people who are more physically fit. There are people who are more stronger, either physically or mentally or emotionally. Like, there are people that are just better at certain things. And you shouldn't try to compare yourself. You should just appreciate the fact that they are great in something because you're great in something as well. Why would you hate on the next person because you can't beat them? They hate me because they ain't me. That's what the saying is, right? And that's what's going on. It's just crazy hate. But the fact that she has turned this election around and is this close in this short amount of time is remarkable. Something that's never been done in American history. I don't know if it could ever be duplicated. She's the right person at the right time to bring about change. I don't know if that change is going to happen. You know, Sam Cooke said his change is going to come. I don't know. You know, I don't know if it's the fact that I'm just being cautious, not to be optimistic, or if it's something I truly believe. But like, Trump has a lot of supporters. And I believe that he has some people who are cultists, who are believers in Trumpism. I genuinely believe that some people think that he is a messenger from God. That's what some MAGA folks have said. I genuinely believe that they believe that. And, you know, hey, I guess everybody got to believe in something, even if it's detrimental to who you are as a person. I guess. I don't necessarily agree with that, but that's what they say. You know, that's what they say, but I don't necessarily agree with that. And then there are some people who are intoxicated by his power and influence. And for those people, I don't know what to really say to them. You're a sellout. You sell out democracy and your people, Americans, for power that you don't really even get to you're just associated with power. You don't really get to partake in it. This is essentially what Elon Musk is doing. He wants to be associated with power. And I'll get into Elon Musk a little bit later. But yeah, you know, I thought that she did a good job. Conversely, I thought Trump did a horrible job, as he routinely does when he's not, well, even if he is being interviewed by people that are supporters of his or are going to give him softball questions, he's just not, look, his rallies, I don't care what nobody says. If everybody was complaining about Joe Biden, why aren't you not complaining about Trump? Because the weave that he talks about, he does, I do the weave. He does not do the weave. He doesn't answer direct questions. He goes off and he does the same repeated lines. Nothing that he ever says is positive, except for the things that he says that he's going to do without plans to prove that he's going to do them. You know, hey, look, it is extremely clear who is presidential and who is not. And, you know, I really don't know how they can be much more of a contrast. And here's something from the headlines that it further illustrates just how irresponsible Trump is. This is from AP News. Witnesses reported seeing a group of armed individuals harassing hurricane relief workers in a remote Tennessee community last weekend. The incident occurred in Elk Mills near the North Carolina border. According to Carter County Sheriff Mike Farley, no arrests were made, but the situation was tense as the armed group seemed intent on causing trouble for the FEMA workers. This comes amid a backdrop of increased threats of disinformation targeting FEMA workers in the region. He's been lying about people that are trying to help people that have been devastated by the hurricane. He was on Univision last night, still talking about Springfield. It's been debunked. Even the lady who originally claimed that Haitians ate her cat said, oh yeah, my cat was in the basement. It's not true. And the evidence that he provides is, well, it was being reported. No, it wasn't. It was being reported as not true. Well, who's reporting that it is true? Where's he reading it? Besides Twitter. Like, where's he reading it? That's credible. He's not, as some people say, it's his explanation. I'm sorry. When you compare the two, and I know I'm a little biased, right? But even in an unbiased state, if you just compare the two, how they answer questions and how they speak, do you think the person is being truthful or not? Like, come on, there's no comparison. Like, it's pretty clear. And it should scare you that he could be easily influenced by people with money. He said in one of his recent interviews that Elon Musk is going to have a place somewhere, not in the cabinet, but somewhere in his administration, that he's going to give him control of something somewhere in the administration. I had a friend yesterday, or the day before, ask me about, hey, did you see the robots that Elon Musk created? They can catch a rocket in their hands. I said, no. I mean, I saw it, but I don't give a damn about no Elon Musk. Well, I mean, isn't that cool? I was like, do you know anything about Elon Musk personally? Or you just think his technology, which, by the way, is not him. He's hired people to create this technology, which, cool, right? Okay. I mean, yeah, that's cool. But this genius that he's labeled as is not the case, right? I was like, did you know anything about his history or background or anything about what he's currently doing? No, I don't know anything. Yeah, no, this man is a horrible human being. He's turned Twitter into a far-right white supremacist social media site, right? Where we used to be able to get news from credible sources because they had to have a blue check mark. He just dismantled that. Pushes hate all throughout the platform and even retweets hateful things. He has openly said if Kamala Harris is elected, he is doomed. He's openly said that. And he's funding a PAC that has spent well over $114 million in support of Donald Trump. And Trump is saying that this man has a place in his administration because Trump can be bought. And if that's what you want from your president, cool. Cool. You know, that's on you. But when all that ish hits the fan and you're thinking to yourself, what the hell did I do? Just realize your ignorant ass voted for an ignorant person. And everything that's coming is on you. But once again, it is really not that difficult. Compare their two Univision town halls. Just compare the two and tell me which one is more presidential. But speaking of Elon Musk and his robots, something got me nervous. When my friend was talking about the robots, and I had seen it before he brought it up, I said, it's like nobody's ever watched a sci-fi movie. It's like that nobody's ever seen Terminators. 1, 2, 3, 4, Salvation, whatever. Like, you've never seen any of the Terminators? You've never seen iRobot with the robots? Like, we've created movies that show robots are going to take us over. And instead of heeding these warnings that have been written in film and television, we're not only creating robots, we're also expanding AI. I'm going to get into why this is a dangerous trajectory next. Now, I did a show about AI last year, I believe, and it was when ChatGPT came out. I talked a lot about ChatGPT. There's also another AI service. There's multiple AI services. AI is all over the place. Like, you don't really have to do no work nowadays. AI would do it for you. I used to do coding to help develop websites and things of that nature. I had to update a website yesterday. I didn't feel like going in and doing the coding. So I took the previous coding, put it into ChatGPT, said, this is what I wanted. This is the update that I want to do to the coding. Write the code for me. It wrote the code for me. I put it in the website. Boom, I was done within 5 minutes. Whereas typically that would have took me about an hour, right? So AI is beneficial. It is very helpful. Just as technology advances, we as people, as human beings, get dumber, even though we should be getting smarter and more intelligent with technology because it gives us access to more things, right? The internet created an ability to easily research something. Whereas I grew up, you need to have an encyclopedia. People used to go around selling encyclopedias, and you might have an M encyclopedia. You knew everything about the M encyclopedia because that's all your family could afford. And then you had to go to the library and you had to research stuff. But we have Google now. And it's amazing how even with Google, people can't figure out the facts of anything. But even for this podcast, I use ChatGPT and Copilot to do a lot of the copywriting. Look, do you think the thumbnails for YouTube that I'm creating from scratch? No, I type it into Copilot and say what I want, and then I start playing around with it and editing it. But it gives me, instead of having to create it from the base, I have ideas and it kind of jump starts it for me. All the copywriting, coming up with the titles for the podcast, coming up with the descriptions, coming up with the hashtags, it in the background, putting all the keywords so that when people search stuff on the internet, our stuff pops up. AI helps me with a lot of that because I have a little bit of a background in that, but all that stuff is very, very time consuming. It could take me without AI 2-3 days to post produce an episode, audio and visual. With AI, I can record a show in the morning, completely do the post production and release it in the afternoon. The turnaround is that much quicker. So AI is very beneficial, but I like using two in particular, ChatGPT and Copilot. So what are they? Copilot, some of the characteristics of Copilot is it'll answer questions, whether you need a quick fact or a deep dive into a topic, it'll do the research for you. It can create images. I told you about how I use that. It'll generate images based on descriptions that you provide. It'll do a web search. It'll look up current information to provide the latest details. Like I said, it'll write code. I didn't use it. I use ChatGPT, but Copilot can also write code. It'll help you coding tasks across various programs and languages. It'll generate content. It can write articles, stories, scripts, and more. I write the blogs myself. I haven't done a blog in a while because I do so much work with the post-production that it's time consuming to sit down and write the blog. It takes time to write a blog. If I wanted to take a synopsis of the podcast and throw it into an AI, it could create a blog for me. It create an article for me. It'll do all of it for me. I don't even really need to do any of this stuff, but it still doesn't have that Bruce Anthony flair, right? Like it gotta have that je ne sais quoi. That's the essence of me. But anyway, it'll offer recommendations. It can suggest movies, books, restaurants based on things that you like. It can summarize text, provide concise summaries of larger text. It can translate languages, translate text between many languages. It can explain concepts. It can break down complex ideas into easy to understand explanations. But one of the things that it could do is for a lot of people who are really, really confused when they call Kamala Harris a Marxist, communist, fascist. Yeah, two of those things are kind of connected. One of those things is the complete opposite. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know what any of those things are, look it up. ChatGPT and Copilot can help you. So that's just Copilot. ChatGPT can also answer questions and provide information. It can also generate text. It can also assist in coding, offer recommendations and summarize text and translate and explain concepts. What are some of the difference? Integrated tools. Copilot can use specific tools like web search and image generation to enhance its responses. Contextual understanding. Both could keep track of the context within a conversation, but Copilot has a specialized capabilities designed to improve conversational flow and output formats. So why did I bring all of this up? You got Elon Musk out there creating robots. You got AI all over the world. And I said something about algorithms earlier, and I'll get into that in a minute. But y'all need to beware. This stuff is getting scary. When I first did the episode about AI, more specifically ChatGPT, maybe about a year ago, maybe a little bit more than a year ago, I think it was about a year ago, it has become far more advanced and far more powerful in that year. And it's only going to become 4 or 5 times more powerful by this time next year. It can do the work of a lot of different people that have jobs out there. That's going to eliminate jobs. You have people who do coding and web design. I'm sorry. Like, some of y'all are about to lose your job, because not only are there website companies that are AI, right? You could type in what you want, what your website is about, what you'll be doing on the website, and kind of like the designs. It'll generate a website for you, and then you could just change different stuff to fit what you want. What a web developer is going to do. It's only a matter of time, and it probably already can write code for apps. You could probably say, I want to create an app for this in ChatGPT, and it will probably write the code for you. Now, there are certain things that still require you to do work that these AI technologies cannot do. But like, it's only a matter of time before they are able to do it. What's scary still is that now they have robots. What's going to happen when they put an AI in a robot? Robots that can catch rockets with their robot hands. We're literally creating the instruments of our destruction. And yes, technology is dope. Like, okay, so this isn't AI technology, but I'm sure they have some type of AI presented in these things, but like drones. The creation of drones, especially for fighting in wars and things like that, made it so a lot of soldiers wouldn't have to go into direct combat and wouldn't have to lose their lives. These are good things. There are technological advances that are extremely dope and important, and we need them. However, do we really need robots? Do we really need robots? Do we really need to make AI smarter? Do we really need to make it so that it's more human conversational, that it's less robotic? Because that's one of the major changes that's happened. Like, we already kind of had this, like Grammarly with Gmail and stuff like that would help you craft emails and help you make emails like a little bit smarter. Because, hey, the average American can't read, has an 8th grade reading level. Like, the average American, like, that's what the average reading level is in America, 7th or 8th grade. It might even be lower than that. I might be giving it a high estimation. So a lot of these emails sometimes, I don't know if y'all deal with like professional emails. A lot of them are just like, you didn't pass English class, did you? But yeah, it should be scary. Okay, so you got AI, you got robots. What about these algorithms? Like, why are they so important? I mean, look, if you're on any part of the social media, you know about algorithms, how they feed you information, how they pay attention to what you like, what you dislike, and give you more and more and more and more and more of what you like. That's how these echo chambers and these extremist views have developed, because if you're online and you're only getting everything that you like, you can fall down a rabbit hole further and further and further. And everybody likes being told that they're smart. And these echo chambers or rabbit holes created by these algorithms are just telling people that they're more and more smart. Okay, so that's a problem in and of itself. But what a lot of people really aren't paying attention to is privacy. So what is privacy in technology? Privacy in the context of technology refers to the right of an individual's control to their personal information and how it's collected, used, and shared by companies. Examples of this include data like your name, your email address, and browsing history. Tech privacy ensures that individuals have a say in who gets to see this information and what they can and do with and without it. However, are people reading the fine print? Apple gets me every time. Every time that there's an update, go ahead and scroll. I've tried. I've tried to be like, let me read this to make sure I know what I'm signing up for. South Park did an episode on it where you never know what you're doing when you agree to the terms, and then people had accidentally signed up to a human centipede. It's a funny South Park episode, but you don't know what you're signing up to. And most of the people don't even attempt to read it. I tried to. It was pages and pages of stuff that I had to agree to. And I don't have a legal background, but I do some legal work. And so I am versed in legal terminology, and I can read contracts and things of that nature. I'm pretty good at that. And it was becoming extremely, extremely difficult the longer it got for me to maintain the tension so that the reading comprehension was on point. It was really difficult. So what are we agreeing to? The majority of the time, when we don't read these agreements, we're signing off on whatever company that we're given access to, our phone, our tablets, our computer, our internet access, to be able to sell our information to other entities. What are other types of data that's collected? Besides the personal information, your name, your email address, your phone numbers, birth dates and all that stuff. When they do this, when they collect all this information, they're creating a profile based on you. All this stuff, your browser history, your location, because our location are tied to our phone, right? Everywhere we go, our phone knows exactly where we are. There's good and bad in this. If you get accused of a crime that you didn't commit, and you got your phone on, you'd be like, I wasn't there. See, my location says I was halfway across town. That's a reason why oftentimes I'm talking to myself. Well, I talk to myself all the time anyway. But at home, when I'm home alone, I talk to myself because Alexa is always listening. Siri is always listening. I always have an alibi. I was at home. I didn't do what they accusing me of. So there's good things about it. Also, I kind of don't want people creating a profile on me thinking that, this is, like the profiler or something like that. It was going to sell me products that they think I want to hear. You ever been around people having a conversation and you say something and the next thing you know, your phone is sending you ads of the thing that you and your friends were talking about either earlier that day, that night, the day before, or 2 days before. And you're like, all of a sudden, I'm starting to get these ads. It's listening to you. It's collecting data and it's pushing it. It's also collecting your user data. What stuff do you go frequent? What websites do you go frequent? It's collecting all this stuff. Now, how is this data used? It's used for target advertisement. Companies use your data to show you ads that are more likely to interest you based on your browsing history and personal information. Also, product development. Data helps companies understand user behavior and preferences, driving decisions on new features and products. User experience. Enhancing user experience by personalizing content and recommendations based on your data. Here are the privacy concerns and risks that are continuing what I'm already saying, because you need to be concerned because there are some risks, right? Data breaches. Examples, such as the incident with Equifax breach, where millions of people's personal records were exposed, leading to identity theft and financial loss. Another thing that people don't realize, everybody wants to do this 23andMe and this Ancestry.com and blah, 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 and this and that. Look, those situations get hacked. One was hacked. For the life of me, I can't remember exactly which one it was. Those situations get hacked. Not only do they have your name, your address, guess what they also have? Your mother's name, your mother's maiden name, your first aunt, your third uncle. They got everything. And so when they had that information, they could open up, I don't know, credit cards, take out loans in your name, because when you're dealing with credit cards and loans, you need to have your social security number, and they always ask you for your mother's maiden name. They now have it. So when you're doing these type of things and you're signing off for your information to be collected and sold, just realize that you're opening yourself up to a world of pain. There's also surveillance and tracking every time that you have data collection. Government surveillance, programs like PRISM, which involves mass data collection, often without individual consent. And then there's corporate tracking. companies tracking your online and offline behavior to build detailed profiles for advertising and other purposes. Look, there is nothing that I want so desperately in the world that I want a profile detailing me and my likes and dislikes. Because first of all, just because I click on a website don't mean I like it. I'll go on foxnews.com. I hate foxnews.com, but I'll go on it just because I try to be objective in gathering information, and I have to see what people that I don't agree with are saying. Because maybe sometimes they might have a point. Fox News often does not. 99% of the time, they don't have a point in why they disagree and some of the things I disagree with. But every once in a while, I find something, right? So I don't want profiles being directed towards me, because I was on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, and I started getting right-wing stuff because I clicked on something to read somebody's idiotic response to a comment. I'm not interested in that. And so I had to tell Twitter, don't send me no stuff like this anymore. But there's more to it than just an invasion of privacy. How does it affect us as people? There is a psychological impact when you had this information and you know the information of the fact that you don't have privacy with all the technology that we have. With consistent surveillance, knowing you're always being watched, this can lead to increased stress and anxiety. You can also have behavioral changes. People may alter their online behavior to avoid surveillance, leading to a loss of authentic self-expression. Or you could just turn bat-ish crazy and start falling down these rabbit holes, believing conspiracy theories because you believe that you're always being surveillanced and everybody is always chasing you. Look, let me tell you something. If you're an ordinary, average citizen and you ain't doing nothing wrong, ain't nobody looking into you. You are boring. Boring is good. Now, when you started some stuff, maybe you was talking about how you was going to storm the Capitol on January 6th. Yes, they are watching you. And you know what? They should be. They should be watching you. Look, there are ways to protect your privacy. You can use VPNs. I use VPNs. Those are virtual private networks that mask your IP, making your internet activity private and secure. You can use encryption services. You can just be aware and educate yourself. That's what I'm doing right now. Staying informed, knowing what your digital rights are, paying attention to what you're agreeing to, paying attention to the apps that you download on your phone, pay attention to the apps that you open on your laptop or phone, or even on your television. Pay attention to all of this stuff. Our privacy is being invaded. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it ain't good. Most importantly, you got to make sure it doesn't affect you personally. Now, why did I bring all this up? Is because y'all need to start paying attention to these advancements in technology. Advancements in technology make us as human beings lazier. We don't think anymore. That's how we get the orange man to become president. We stopped thinking. We stopped doing research on our own. We just believe what Google says because Google said it, not even checking the source of what Google is sending to us. You got to check your sources. You got to research. You got to understand what you're dealing with. You got to be more knowledgeable at the things that are out there. Stop believing everything everybody else says. Stop believing everything that you read on the internet. Verify your sources. Be wary of the fact that they got robots and AI, and they could put AI in the robots, and they could develop an algorithm to start sending robots out there collecting us. Now, do I think that that's a possibility? Yes, I do. In every post-apocalyptic world, that is how we get to that dystopia. We're heading there because we're becoming dumber. We're losing critical thinking skills. Use technology to help you become smarter, to become more intelligent. Stop using it as a crutch for your laziness and start using it as a booster for you to gain and learn more knowledge. Use it to help you. Don't use it to hurt you. Continuing that theme with technology, I was thinking of something quirky to talk about in the third segment. You know, everybody knows, you listen, you watch the show. The third segment, I like to bring it down because the second segment is always heavy. We're always dealing with something real. So the third segment, I always either like to tell a story or talk about something on social media that was funny. It's silly, quirky. If y'all haven't understand what the outline of the shows are, third segment is always that. And so as I was just surfing the internet the other day, I came across this article that had like this quirky fact. And I was like, that's not true. But then did some research and it was true. And then I said, well, what are some facts that are hard to believe, but that are also true? And then I came across so many that I was just like, wow, I did not know this. And y'all know I'm a nerd. I like to learn. So because I like to learn and y'all are listening and watching me, y'all gonna learn. So this is a segment that I'm gonna label unbelievable but true facts. All right, I'm going to give you a bunch of them, give my own little commentary to it. And the first one is octopuses have 3 hearts. Two pump blood to the gills and one pumps it to the rest of the body. So the octopus has 3 hearts, and 2 of the hearts pump blood to the gills and one of them pumps the blood to the rest of the body. Octopuses, I think there was something that I found out about octopuses that you can cut off their limb and another one grows back. There's a lot. Look, we know more about outer space than we do about the deep blue sea. I did not know that octopuses had 3 hearts. If you say that you did, you must have learned, you must have been a segment in elementary school where they told you about octopuses, or you took your kid to some museum and they told you about octopuses, but I didn't know octopuses had 3 hearts. And yes, I'm saying it that way on purpose. All right, here's another unbelievable but true fact. Bananas are berries. But strawberries aren't. What? Botanically speaking, bananas fit the berry criteria while strawberries don't. What? How a strawberry? It's the name is in the it's berries. Strawberry got to be a berry. It's in the name. It's strawberry. It got to be a berry, but supposedly, no, it's not. And banana ain't no berry in banana. They both start with B, but that's about it. But a banana is a berry, botanically speaking, of course. All right, check this out. There's a place on Earth where it hasn't rained for 2 million years. The dry valleys in the Antarctica are considered the driest place on the planet, with some regions having no rain for over 2 million years. Now, I don't like rain. I actually personally hate rain. I'm not trying to be Omarion dancing or Usher dancing in the rain. I don't like rain. You get your clothes wet, your clothes stick to you when you're wet. I don't like my clothes sticking to me. They stick to you when you're sweaty and when it's raining. I don't like it when it's too hot and I'm sweaty, and I don't like it when it's raining. So I might want to live in a place like that, but I don't want to live in Antarctica. It's too damn cold. But that's interesting for 2 million years. Can you imagine that? 2 million years. All right, here's another fun fact. Honey never spoils. Archaeologists have found pots of honey in ancient Egyptian tombs that are over 3,000 years old and still perfectly edible. Now, with that being said, am I gonna eat some 3,000-year-old honey? Hell to the no. I'm not gonna trust it. But if they say it's true and it's been fact checked, because somebody had to try that 3,000, somebody was like, let me try it. I bet it's nice and sweet and delicious. It's still edible. I didn't die. Somebody was out there doing that. I assure y'all, ladies and gentlemen, Bruce Anthony would not be the person out there doing that. Hell to the no. All right, here's another one. There are more stars in the universe than grains of sand on Earth. Dig that here. There are more stars in the universe. What's a star? What's a star? Our sun is a star. There are more stars in the universe than there are grains of sand on Earth. This observable universe contains around 100 billion galaxies, each with millions or billions of stars, vastly outnumbering the grains of sand on any beaches on Earth. Wow. For those people out there that are listening to that, a star can have a solar system, can have planets revolving around the stars. And what they're saying is there are millions and billions of stars out there. So for those people that say, I don't believe that there's extraterrestrials, there's no way, God just created us and there's nobody else. That's a whole lot of waste of space. A whole lot of waste of space for there not to be other beings out there in the universe. I'm just saying. I believe there are other beings out there in the universe, and I believe that they drive right past this planet because we elect people like Donald J. Trump. All right, check this out. A day on Venus is longer than a year on Venus. Venus takes 243 Earth days to rotate once on its axis, but only 225 Earth days to complete an orbit around the sun. Isn't that crazy? Like, it has a long day. A day is longer than a year. Like, what's today? I don't know, but it's year 27. Check this out. You can hear blue whales' heartbeat from more than 2 miles away. The gentle giants have hearts that weigh about 4,000 pounds and can be heard with considerable distance underwater. Look, between octopuses and these whales, them hearts, they serious, man. Once again, we know approximate how many stars there are in outer space. But there are still some creatures in the deep blue sea that we ain't even discovered yet. Okay, this is the last one. And it's a crazy one. Humans share 60% of their DNA with bananas. All right, this is a quirky fact, but the genetic similarity between humans and bananas showing just how connected life on Earth is. And that's dope. Like, we should all know that everything on life is connected, right? Like, I hate roaches and rats and spiders and snakes. Hate it. Matter of fact, I hate almost all bugs. I don't think there's any bug that I actually like. Even caterpillars are ugly, but butterflies are beautiful. Because caterpillars turn into butterflies, because they go in that cocoon. And then what's dope about when they go in that cocoon is that they're basically like completely dissolved, except for their head, and then come out with a whole new body. Basically, they do the same thing that these women do when they go overseas and get these BBLs. I'm sorry, but y'all need to stop with the BBLs. I'm not going to go on a BBL rant, but yes, I am. Okay, because I've been seeing some really bad BBLs. If you're going to get your ass done, get your thighs and your quads done as well. It is nothing worse than seeing a woman with a big old rotunda, which does not fit her body. It doesn't jiggle right because, I'm a bootyologist, so I know how it's supposed to jiggle properly. It doesn't jiggle right. And you got these skinny legs. That doesn't make any sense. Do the BBL, but do the legs as well. Okay, that's just my last little tangent. BBLs and legs as well. That's going to be the slogan for 2025. BBLs and legs as well. But why did I do these facts? Because I like learning. And I thought they were interesting. I mean, the one about Venus, that's kind of dope, right? Like, Venus takes so long to spin around its axis. Takes so long to spin around its axis that it will go around the moon. 225 days goes around the moon, and you still haven't hit a day yet. 225 Earth days goes around the moon, and you still haven't hit a Venus day yet. Look, imagine the work hours. Imagine America and the work hours on Venus. They'd be killing us. They would say that the work hours, the daily work hours are 200 of the 225 Earth days that it takes for it to revolve around the sun, and we ain't hit a full day yet. You got enough time to go get your errands done and go home and eat and stuff like that. But the rest of the days you're going to work, because Americans like to be worked to death for some odd reason. Not me, not I, says Bruce, but technology. It can be cool. It can give you fun facts like that. It can be used as a tool for learning, to expand the person that you already are. It's like my theory on relationships. Doesn't just have to be romantic relationships. It could be relationships with your friends, relationships with your parents, what have you. A relationship is not meant to complete you. That's not what the relationship is meant to do. I hate Jerry Maguire when he's like, you complete me. That's just the dumbest thing ever. You need to be completed before you decide to enter into any type of relationship, whether it be romantic, friendship, or otherwise, right? A relationship is supposed to enhance the person that you already are, not complete you. Enhance, give a booster, right? Introduce you to do different things. It's never great to date you, right? It's never great to date somebody who's so similar to you. You want somebody who's going to introduce you to new stuff that you never even thought of. Maybe some stuff that you thought that you wouldn't like that you do because your partner likes it, or your family member likes it, or your friend likes it. And then you find out, this wasn't so bad. My bestie took me to we was just walking in this one town area. And she was like, ooh, let's go into this little art place. We went into the art place and I was like, you know what? I like art. I didn't know that I liked art. I like art because somebody else introduced me to it, right? Enhance. I'm completing myself. I'm getting there. But yes, friendships, relationships enhance you. Technology should enhance you, not complete you. Don't use technology for all of the answers. Use technology as the gateway to get to the answers. And then we can grow as people. But let's hope that the machines don't become sentient, because then if they do, we're done for. How are we going to battle robots that can catch rockets in their hands? We fall down and scrape our hands and we go into the emergency room and they catching rockets in their hands. We don't stand a chance. We don't stand a chance. But on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And until next time, as always, I'll holla. Whew, that was a hell of a show. Thank you for rocking with us here on Unsolicited Perspectives with Bruce Anthony. Now, before you go, don't forget to follow, subscribe, like, comment, and share our podcast wherever you're listening or watching it to it. Pass it along to your friends. If you enjoy it, that means the people that you rock will enjoy it also. So share the wealth, share the knowledge, share the noise. And for all those people that say, well, I don't have a YouTube. If you have a Gmail account, you have a YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can actually watch our video podcast. But the real party is on our Patreon page, After Hours Uncensored and Talking Straight-ish. After Hours Uncensored is another show with my sister. And once again, the key word there is uncensored. Those are exclusively on our Patreon page. Jump onto our website at unsolicitedperspectives.com for all things us. That's where you can get all of our audio, video, our blogs, and even buy our merch. And if you're really feeling genuine and want to help us out, you can donate on our donations page. Donations go strictly to improving our software and hardware so we can keep giving you guys good content that you can clearly listen to and that you can clearly see. So any donation would be appreciative. Most importantly, I want to say thank you for listening and watching and supporting us. And I'll catch you next time. Audi 5000. Peace.